going through my injury allowed me to rebuild my gratefulness, I think, and to step in to each day, to each session, with so much gratitude that I get to do this, that it's a privilege to be able to be in the position that I am.
Step into the Pressure Lab, brought to you by Head First, the Philadelphia Union Foundation's mental health initiative. Here, we believe mental fitness is as important as physical fitness. You train your body every day. This is where you train your mind. The pressure, the doubt, the setbacks, they're all part of the game. But what you do with it, that's the skill.
Welcome back to the Pressure Lab. Today's guest is Ben Bender, the #1 overall pick in the 2022 MLS SuperDraft. Ben has experienced almost every side of what it means to chase a dream as an athlete from a young age. He spent time in the Philadelphia Union Academy, started at the University of Maryland, and then heard his name called first in the overall draft by Charlotte FC in 2022. From the outside, his path looked set, but after a major knee injury, the start of his professional career did not go the way any athlete would plan. What followed were setbacks, recovery, the challenge of rebuilding not only physically, but mentally too. Now with the Philadelphia Union, Ben joins us to talk about resilience, confidence, identity, and what it takes to keep moving forward when life doesn't go according to plan. Ben, I want to thank you to the Pressure Lab podcast, brother.
Thanks for having me, Keith. It's good to be here.
Before every episode, we sort of have this process called tagging in. And so tagging in is this way where we're going to show up fully for each other in this conversation, to feel some things, feel some emotions, take us back to some of the things that you've experienced, some things that we can probably connect and relate on. So as I sit here with you, I think my tag in is that, it's really eye-opening and to hear your story and sort of what you have experienced at such a young age. Having played lacrosse, I've had success, but I never had the success that you had at such a young age to be considered a pro, at this point in time. And so I'm humbled, but also have a tremendous amount of gratitude to hear your words. And I know that our audience is looking forward to it as well.
I'm looking forward to sharing my story with you as well. Like you said, there's a lot of setbacks. And yeah, going through adversity really helps you become, a stronger person. And so I think it'd be cool to talk about some of my experiences, and I'm sure we can relate.
No doubt. When did you start playing? Like sort of, start playing and realize that this is sort of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, those are the earliest memories I have, playing soccer with my two older brothers. I have two older brothers that are 5 and 6 years older than me. For as long as I can remember, I was chasing them around in the backyard. I remember watching Premier League games with my dad on weekends, watching Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, and yeah, just wanting to become a professional. And yeah, those were my first experiences as a kid.
Did you have other influence or inspirations that were not necessarily soccer related that made you want to sort of pursue this pathway or this journey that you decided to set on? Like, when did you realize that, I'm pretty good at this?
Yeah, I think when I was probably getting into my teens, I would say it got to be a little bit more serious. There were a couple tournaments that I played in that allowed me to take different opportunities. There was a tournament in the States that was called the Tottenham Hotspur America Cup, and there were scouts there, and they were picking some of the best players in that tournament to go over and train with Tottenham Hotspur, who is a Premier League team. And yeah, I think it was kind of at that moment where, I saw, this whole world of soccer unfolding in my eyes. And I'm like, wow, like these guys over here in Europe are just playing on a different level. And this is what it's going to take to play at this level. Like these guys are fast, they're quick, like they're quicker than me, they're smarter than me. So, but I had some talent as well. And I knew I could, keep up with them at the same time. And so my pathway was different than some people's. But yeah, I think going into my teens was really how, I realized that, this could actually be a possibility one day.
Yeah. This idea of hardship, highlight, and hero. And, when you think about that support system and the heroes of your life, like who has inspired you along the way?
Definitely my dad from a young age. He definitely instilled the passion of the game for me. It's pretty funny. Up until 14, he was really, really hard on me. And then a flip of the switch kind of happened, and it was kind of like he took hands off, and he was like, "Okay, if you're gonna pursue this, go for it now." And he's still critical of my game sometimes, but I think he did it in a really, special way to where, like, if now that I'm 14, I'm getting a little bit older. I'm on my own a little bit more. Like, if I'm going to pursue this, then, I'm the one that's going to have to put in the work and everything. And it didn't feel at all forced, after I was, 14 and going to the academy, and I was on my own a little bit. So I think he was one of my heroes for sure. Growing up, he instilled all that passion in me. And then I would say my two older brothers, just the fact that I got to play so much with them, growing up in the backyard, battling 1v1s, getting beat up by them, learning how to be stronger, training individually with them, so many hours on, a local field by our house that we would go out and shoot and just be there for, so long. And I look back and wish I could do that again with them. It was such a special time training with them. And I think those are the moments that really prepare you and set you apart from other players, is those times with your family, because a lot of unique people out there and different styles. So pretty cool.
Have you ever have you gone back into the backyard, and have you done that at times yet as a pro?
Earlier on, about 2 years ago, I went back. I visit my parents, not frequently, but as much as I can, get down there to Baltimore, Maryland. But yeah, I've been back there with my brothers, and we've kicked the ball around the yard, and we played croquet the other day, and we're just reminiscing of the times that we used to spend with one another.
Yeah.
So it's pretty special.
Absolutely. People talk about the being the guy, sort of in the sport that you play, and obviously that was you, being a first round draft pick and coming out of Maryland, and expectations. And so when you got drafted, was there pressure that you felt on yourself instantly? Did you sort of know going into it? Like, what was I don't know how many people have the opportunity to be a first round draft pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happened so fast, honestly. It was, things were going well during the season, but I wasn't really expecting to be super high on the draft list. I was surprised to go number one overall with how everything unfolded. The timing of Charlotte being a new team in 2022, and just the fact that they placed their trust in me, a guy that's a sophomore, a local guy from Maryland. But with the season that I had, looking back, I think maybe I should have had more confidence that they should pick me.
Yeah. So now, you're drafted first. You're so grounded. Did you feel anything changing yourself being a first round draft pick?
Not really. I honestly, I feel like the first 5 months after being drafted was like a dream. Like
Yeah.
I didn't feel much pressure. I think I was just playing off of instinct the whole time. Like things were going so easily for me. Like I really wasn't expecting it because, when I got there, like I'm a younger guy, like I'm thinking I'm going to have to really fight for a spot, like, and, things aren't going to come easy for me. And then, yeah, I'm a sub the first game and with 70,000 fans and I hit the post. And then the next game, our next home game, I get a goal and an assist in front of 30 or 40,000. And I had just been playing, high school and college with with 5,000 max fans. And then it's like everyone's coming to these games to watch us play. And yeah, honestly, I wasn't really thinking about it. And yeah, things were going really, really smoothly.
So smoothly, we say smoothly, and then all of a sudden,
Yep.
yeah, tell us. So you've been so honest about your whole journey so far, and most athletes don't know how to handle or process that first injury, and that was something that you started off with. So I'm curious if you can give, the visual and sort of tell us what took place as you, I would imagine, suffered your first real significant injury.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the first 5 months were really easy, like I said. And then it was we had a coaching change, and then I was in and out of the lineup. And then it was 2023, and things were going really, really well at that time. I had started 5 games in a row. I was feeling really fit, really energized, was getting a couple goals. And then, yeah, all of a sudden it really hit me. Like I got that injury. I had a couple of opportunities at the time, like a pre-Olympic camp with U23 national team. And looking back at that time, I think I was taking these opportunities for granted. And really, when I look back, I wish I was more grateful for the good times that I had on the field. And if I could go back, I would have been more grateful before the games. The fact that I'm starting, like every single person that's every kid that's at this game wants your spot. Like so many people would give so much to be in your position. And so, yeah, going through that injury, I think it was a meniscus root injury, which was a little bit of a strange injury for a soccer player. And that put me out about 7 to 8 months. And the road to recovery was more difficult than I expected and more difficult than the trainers had expected. And so, yeah, I think going through that period, I reflected a lot. And yeah, like I said, I'll go back to the gratitude part. Like now I think I play with so much thankfulness in my heart every time I go out there.
When it happened, what was sort of your first reaction to it?
It starts to hit you during the 2 to 3 to 4 months where you are still in the gym and, preseason has started for the guys and you don't get to be with them. And yeah, over time, it kind of eats you up because you see yourself as the player that you were before the injury. And then when you don't get to that level again and you have your identity wrapped up in that player before the injury, it really eats you up inside. And so those are the things that you're battling each and every day. And as competitive athletes as we are, every pro athlete wants to be at the top. And when you're not there and when you have had success before, it eats your mind away. And so those are the things that you battle, and adversity you go through, and you have to find a way to get through that, and to overcome it.
And I think a lot of young athletes are afraid to talk about the idea of sport and identity. And because it's almost like if I'm not this, then what am I? And knowing what your relationship has been with soccer and with sport and success, how did this injury challenge your identity?
Yeah, when you play, from 4 years old, and then you achieve your dream of being a pro, and then you set even higher standards for yourself. And when you meet some of those standards, but you don't achieve the bigger goals because of a setback, then you feel like the world has ended. And because you play every day, and this is what you do, this is what your job is, your identity is taken away. I think looking back, a success could be from my injury is the fact that I gave my everything, trying to get back onto the field as soon as possible, sleeping right, eating right, doing, controlling the things that you can control, even though you're not on the field.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, your identity can be shaken for sure. But it's the mentality and the grit, the desire to get back to where you were, and to prove that, each and every day I'm going to wake up and overcome this, these negative thoughts, even though it's hard, even though you can't be out there on the field with your teammates, even though you can't be out there getting better in certain ways. You can get better in the little ways, in the gym, and doing other little details.
This podcast is powered by HeadFirst, a program of the Philadelphia Union Foundation, has built a free toolkit at myheadfirst.org with worksheets, guides, videos, and resources designed for athletes, parents, and coaches navigating the mental side of the sport. And if you want something tangible, something your athlete can carry with them to every practice and every game, request a HeadFirst bag tag. It's a free luggage-style tag that attaches to any soccer bag and links directly to myheadfirst.org through a QR code. It's a symbol, a reminder, and a connector, all in one. Request yours at myheadfirst.org. Coaches and clubs, reach out to us directly, and we'll send a full package for your entire team.
When you have success, you're being affirmed constantly.
For sure.
It's a first round draft pick, and so many things have gone your way, and I'm wondering if you felt any of that. Like, did you have really challenging days where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to come out of this?
Yeah, for sure. I think every day you wake up, those thoughts come into your mind. You have to surround yourself with the right people that can, speak life into you. And I think that's what I tried to do to help me get through those tough times.
I like that, speak life into you. I think it speaks volumes when you say that. I think when you say speak life into you, can you elaborate a little bit further about when you say that, what that means?
Whether it's your friends or your family, spending quality time with you, talking about things outside of the game that you enjoy doing, talking about who you are as a person, your character. And yeah, I think my family was able to come around me and do that at that time. They were able to encourage, positive reinforcement for sure, and encourage me, for who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And that's hard because I want them to encourage me for who I am on the field.
Yeah.
But I think that builds character, that when you go through those trials, it builds perseverance, and it builds even stronger faith. And when you get tested, and when you go through those things, that perseverance becomes like a fire inside of you.
Yeah.
And so I think those are the ways my family and my wife and friends came around me during those tough times.
What kept you inspired? Like, how are you able to see something without knowing, with the level of uncertainty, without knowing what the outcome was going to be? Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to tell that 14-year-old who just has this growth plate issue that keeps manifesting as some continuous injury, that they just are like, I don't know if I can even do this anymore?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it really, this past week has hit me different in terms of, playing a bigger role on the field and scoring a goal for my team, because I've actually had those thoughts up until this week, because it's been about 3 years since my major injury, and I was expecting to bounce back in 8 months and be that same guy who I knew myself, on the field before my injury. And so what drives me during those tough times is I have a goal in mind. I want to provide for my family in the future. Like, that's something that, I really want to do. And I think when you say someone who has growth plate injuries, or someone has a reoccurring injury, I still feel pain from my surgery, in some way. And there's little exercises that I've learned to make sure that I do before I go out. Simple things, simple exercises like Nordics, like you're definitely familiar with.
Yep.
And that's something that I had to implement in my training. And so there's things that you learn that, you're not just stuck in the water and, you can't get out of this. You can figure out certain ways to, battle against the pain that you have. And so I've learned, yeah, like doing Nordics, doing different stretches. Like, you have to up your rehab, you have to up your prehab, and yeah, I think, you can get through it.
Youth sports, and it's so massive now. So whether or not across all sports, where people are moving 100 miles per hour, not many people are still. And obviously going through an injury for 7-8 months of going through rehab, there's a lot of moments where you're sort of by yourself and you're quiet and you're still. What were some of the things that you needed to hear from your coaches or from people around you that kept you inspired? Like, what are some of the things, and even when you're not injured, like, what are some of the things that you need to hear right now to keep you putting one foot in front of the other?
I think it's important not to look too far into the future. I think that's something that I did when I was injured. And when you look into the future and you worry about something that hasn't happened, and you envision, something like, for example, I envision myself not being able to get back and sprint like I used to be able to because of having too much pain, or, just worrying about what's going to happen. And I think I needed to hear that from my family, especially, that, look, you need to stop worrying about 8 months from now. Right now, you need to focus on being able to walk, being able to jog, so control the things that you can control. So they were really helpful in just telling me to stop looking so far into the future. You can't control that, and take it day by day. Take small steps, control what you can control, and believe in your abilities to get back, and see where it goes from there.
Did anything ever deter you? Did anybody ever say anything that sort of kept you off track, where you sort of felt like I didn't need to hear that?
That's an interesting one. I like that question. One of the captains actually at Charlotte, where I was playing, after I had gotten the injury, and I told him, I can't remember if it was before my surgery or after my surgery, and he looked at me and saw how bad shape my leg was in after the surgery, and he made a comment, and he said, it's going to be tough to get back to where you were. And then he made a comment after that and said, even the best ones have a tough time, meaning the players in the Premier League, the players in La Liga, the players at the top, that you would think being out that long and they have that pedigree that they would just step right back into their spot.
Yeah.
And so the comment was kind of like, I took it as, okay, like, I'm not a big player, and so my career is going to be in the dumps because I'm not one of those big players that he was referring to. So it was like, I felt like I was being, written off a little bit.
Yeah.
And so at that time, it was even more frustrating to hear that, because I couldn't control the injury.
Yeah.
And so I had to battle, little things like that as well.
Is there anything that you would offer up for someone that may be experiencing that, where they have their own self-doubt already,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody else is affirming their self-doubt?
Yeah.
How to, maybe a couple things out there that maybe there some helpful tools or things that you believe that maybe you'd help to you did to sort of
Yeah.
get through those moments.
Yeah. Another thing that I can think about, is when I was talking with my dad through the injury, and how, he would always say, make sure you don't re-injure it and make sure you don't come back too fast. And so that was always in the back of my mind as well, during the recovery process, is make sure, you're pushing the boundaries and how fast you go, but at the same time, don't do something that's going to re-injure you and set you back. And so I guess my encouragement to someone who's struggling with, these doubts, and someone who's affirming these doubts, is believe in your recovery process, believe that you can get back to where you were. It may not look like there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I can say from experience there is. It's not an easy road. There's a lot of adversity along the way, but you can do it. You can get through it, and you can get stronger through it as well. You can become a stronger athlete because of it. You can build stronger character because of it. So I think there are definitely positives to take away from injuries, for sure. It builds character.
Ben, I have taken a lot from your words. And, I know, a bunch of young men that I teach, and there was their last day at school today before, playoffs and the World Cup kick off. And my hope is that they have the opportunity to sort of listen to what you have said in this conversation. At the end of every conversation, no different than, at the 40th minute, and I'm tagging you in for my spot, and there's a tag out. So I'm sort of decompressing with you, and I just want to throw something at you as sort of a final reflection as you sort of tag out, is when you hear the phrase, rebuilding your identity after something that is challenging, what comes up for you when you hear that?
I guess my tag out is rebuilding. Well, for me, like I said earlier, I was able to realize that I wasn't going into each day with gratefulness. And so going through my injury allowed me to rebuild my gratefulness, I think, and to step in to each day, to each session, with so much gratitude that I get to do this, that it's a privilege to be able to be in the position that I am, and to not take, your ability for granted, and to attack the day. And it just gives you so much motivation when you do finally see that light at the end of the tunnel and you do come out on the other side. You're a stronger person because of it. And so I think those are the things that I've tried to build in my character.
It's great, man. I appreciate you, and I know that the audience and anybody listening is going to take your words personally. I think speaking with a ton of transparency and truthfully just authentic truth. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the connection of Maryland, and sometimes I never know what's going to come up in a lot of these conversations. But if nobody's told you, a tremendous amount of gratitude for who you are as a person, who you are as a player. And, I wish you the best of luck as you come out of this break.
Thank you, Keith. Glad we could share some of these burdens together. We're going through it.
I got you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Everything we talked about today is educational, not professional mental health advice. If you or someone you know needs real support right now, call or text 988. That's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, free and available 24/7.